We are in Pasquale's restaurant in Waynesville, North Carolina, actually in the bar. In the President's Club, a number of scenes occur in the Louisville Tavern, and there is no more Louisville Tavern, it's gone. And it was in Northeast Louisiana anyway. So this is, for the moment, is going to be the Louisville Tavern. We are here today to talk about my second book. It'll be out this fall in time for Christmas shopping, The President's Club. We hope to get it out in no later than October, so an ebook on Kindle, Nook, and Kobo, and then in a trade paperback. In The Tourist Killer, I wrote a scene where one of the characters was a little bit on edge. He was nervous, anxious, he couldn't get any sleep. So he decided to go out for a walk. He ran into a gentleman he met in the lobby of the hotel who wound up taking him to an old man's bar, which was the Louisville Tavern. Now, when he met this gentleman, he was wearing a name tag that said Thomas. So he addressed him by Thomas, and the man smiled and says, "Well, Thomas ain't my real name. I lost my name tag, and I borrowed this from another friend of mine who works here, but my name is Abe, another president." And when that character said that, it gave me the idea of creating a whole set of characters whose names all began with the same names as former presidents. The members of the President's Club become in danger. Julian Tebow, his name sparked a lot of conversation with the men in the President's Club sitting around having a beer at the Louisville Tavern. And then John Dixon, who was in the first book, actually saved Tebow's life in The Tourist Killer. So in the President's Club, Tebow hires Hickson to go to Marietta, Georgia, and look after these 7 old men, because they're all old, they're mostly retired, and he wants to show them his concern for their health and future by making sure they get well taken care of. John Dixon is an amalgam of about 4 different men, 3 of whom I've known and worked with for several years, and the 4th being some elements of my own life. But yeah, John Dixon is a real-life character, but he's made up of 4 different parts. I had been writing blog articles telling the story behind the image for several months when I got a break. Picture galleries selected my photography to feature on their site. They liked the blogs I submitted with the images and invited me to become a regular blogger for topics other than photography. They liked my writing and eventually made me an offer. It was, if you write a book, we'll publish it. How do you turn that down? The first step is I rarely sit when I'm writing. I stand up at work all the time. I'm a pharmacist. I'm used to standing, and it's better on my back. So I have a standing desk in my studio at home, and that's where I do most of my writing. I also have a laptop that I carry around. I do not use an outline. I took the advice of my editor-publisher, who himself is a great writer. And when I sit down to write a book, I write the first chapter, and then I write the last chapter. Now, that meshes with my personality, because I've always been the type that, like a goal setter, and I've always said, if you don't know where you're going, you won't know it when you get there. So when he suggested I write the last chapter first, I said, man, that fits my modus operandi. That's the way I like to operate. And so then I create all these characters, and I turn them loose. And sometimes they'll surprise you with what they say and what they do. Mark Twain often said, in talking about writing and writing about writing, he said, instead of writing that the old woman came out and screamed, bring the old lady out on the stage and let her scream. And so that's what I do. I turn my characters loose and let them create the story. I have an idea because I've written the end chapter where I want it to go, but I give the characters the leeway and the latitude to be themselves.